Okay, great. Yeah. Okay. So once again, we are excited to be here. This is the Virtual Educators Conference, the April edition, and we're excited it is happening. We had to deal with a lot of technical difficulties this morning, and for those that are used to attending the conference, it's not usually like this. Yeah, but we had some technical difficulties this morning, unforeseen. But I'm glad we are still able to come. We're still able to come live. So this morning, right in the studio, I have Bill from Las Vegas, and then um, we have Dr. Joy in the studio. We have Dr. Joy in the studio, and then we also have Ms. Temitope Adebimpe from Nigeria. And this really promises to be a great conversation. So okay, I think okay. Let me just say hello to Dr. Joy, and so I can be sure that she's ready, audio and video wise, to connect to the meeting. Okay. Okay. Hi, Dr. Joy. Can you hear me?
I can hear you well. Good morning.
Yeah. Good morning from Nigeria. Interesting. So thanks for connecting. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, I just wanted to be sure that you were connected and that everything is fine tech-wise with you as regards the meeting. So thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for connecting. In some minutes' time, we're going to be bringing you up for the presentation. All right. So thank you once again.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, this morning, we have the director of studies from Pearls Garden School. Pearls Garden School is located in Lagos, in Nigeria, and we're honored to have with us this morning. The DOS Director of Studies of Pearls Garden School. Good morning, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. Good morning, Mr. Devabayu. How are you this morning?
Good morning, ma'am. I'm fine. I'm doing very well. I'm doing very well.
That's
Excited to
great.
finally have you on the show. Yeah, we know you are a very busy person. Like you are very busy. Thank you for squeezing out the time to be part of this to be part of the April edition, to be part of the conference. Okay, so we're just going to get into the conversation. So, like I said, I'm going to be asking you some questions, and I would like you to know. We understand that we have a number of schools who are skeptical about blended learning, who are not sure if it's worth investing in, who are thinking, okay, if I have to invest in blended learning, what do I stand to gain? How's it going to look like? It's from what we have seen in our partnership with Pierce Garden School. You have a blended learning system that is wonderful, that is amazing, and we know you started from somewhere, and then it's been a journey. All right, and we'd like to ask a number of questions. When PGS was going to get into blended learning, like how did it all started? How did it all started? What was the motivation? Why did you decide to have a kind of that kind of system that was going to be blended, that would make room for technology greatly, and will ensure that the kids have the best of learning with respect to the 21st century learning design? We'd like to hear from you, please.
Okay. Thank you very much. Good morning once again. Um, I'm Temitope Adebimpe from Pearls Garden School, Lagos, Nigeria, and thank you for the beautiful things you said about the school. But let me quickly clear the air so that some of the listeners will not think, okay, probably she's a tech guru or she's a geek. That's why they're into it. I'm a very regular person. I'm not a geek. I'm not a tech guru. But one thing I know for sure, excuse me, right from the onset is that education is aspirational. Education is about becoming. When parents bring children into school, it's because of something. They have a vision for their children. And when it comes to education, we're preparing our children today for their tomorrow. So where we have that consciousness and we're always looking ahead at what's going to be obtainable. Of course, future is unpredictable, but to a certain extent, you can see how things are going, and then you can sort of guess that, okay, in so years' time, this is what's going to be obtainable. So we're very, very conscious of that. And as we look ahead and we see things are coming up, especially in the area of technology, we started gradually moving and edging closer towards it. Our school is located in a lower middle class area. So this is not about having like cashed up cash to do all these things. And this is not about being a tech guru. Okay. I'm saying this because of people that might be listening. So it's not something that is overly overwhelming or discouraging. It's something that you just take a step at a time. So when we wanted to start, the first thing we wanted was to have projectors in all our classrooms. We looked at our teachers. We're talking about practical learning, being able to bring learning to life. And of course, it's a little bit odd if you have a teacher that is trying to move like a swimming octopus in front of the children. Of course, when you have opportunities to actually beam these pictures to the children, to beam videos that the children are going to learn from, it's beautiful. So we started with projectors. Gradually, we started installing projectors into our classrooms, and then we started beaming to the children. It was awesome. The children really, really loved it. They were happy. Uh-huh. Now, don't get me wrong, we had some challenges in between. We had some challenges. But of course, after doing that, we needed to proceed further a little bit and say, the children actually need devices to work with so that we can send some of these videos to them, so that they can learn at home and stuff like that. So that was actually how we started before the pandemic came in. And that gave us a bit of leverage, but that doesn't mean we didn't have challenges when pandemic came in. Yeah.
Interesting. And thank you so much for that background. And you kept on mentioning the fact that even though you were growing, but there were challenges that you had to face, and you had to find a way around it to make sure that that's really interesting. So, Mr. Adebimpe, I'd like to know more about what's happening right now. So, um, you mentioned the fact that you keep looking at the fact that the future is unpredictable, and so learning too must become unpredictable. I mean, unpredictable learning for an unpredictable future. Learning must be just that flexible, so to say. So and you mentioned the fact that for that reason, your eyes was just on the future and how you can provide everything in the present to ensure that these kids get the stuff they need for the future. Okay, were there challenges? If you could just cite some one, two instances that you had with this step, in the school community. I know you had parents, and were there some challenges that came around from that direction, and what are some of the steps you took? Because right now I understand, as a virtual learning manager working with PGS, I understand that you have a number of tech infrastructure as regarding a number of tools that the kids are using. They have the tabs in the classroom. They work with tabs in the classroom. You have interactive boards in the classroom. All right. Yeah, I know you didn't get to that level just in a day. So, and could you cite one or two instances, and and how you were able to overcome what happened?
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. The first one is the financial aspect, trying to plan towards getting these things into the classroom. We didn't start with the parents, we started with ourselves. Okay, we started with ourselves, we installed the projectors, we invested in laptops for all the teachers in the various classes. And then we were able to sell some of the children's excitement and their learning journey to the parents. Parents were excited, but of course, when we got to the point of getting devices for the children coming out from the parents' pockets, then the first challenge came in. And the parents were like, no, 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 we can't afford this. Children are not going to be able to keep this. They're going to, spoil it. We have to get another one. It doesn't come in cheap. And we had to keep having meetings, making them understand, trying to work on changing their mindsets, trying to make them receptive. It's not a one-day journey, but it's a gradual thing, a very gradual thing. And another issue that came up is the issue of data. Data is expensive. I don't know, at least here in Nigeria, data is expensive. Okay, so the issue of data, parents always complaining, no, I don't have data, or I already loaded this and it's already exhausted, the children waste it. And of course, cybersecurity. I'm not comfortable leaving my children. I'm not comfortable leaving them online. It means I have to be available if they have to surf the internet and all the rest. So we had to orientate, we had to come up with a lot of strategies. Sometimes, excuse me, sometimes we need to get to the various sites we need, call out the resources we need and post them directly to the children's tab. Sometimes we give instructions because we now had to sort of heighten and moral education as well. Of course, we worked with some people to provide us walls so that the children cannot just go to any site. But at the same time, it dawned on us that we have to also work on the children's sense of responsibility, discipline, self control. So we had to heighten moral education as well. If you have to do this, if you're going there, this is where you should go. You shouldn't, swerve and go to the other side. So a lot of things came up. The parents' fears, they had they had grounds to complain about a number of things, and some of these things that they complain about, we found out that okay, this is true. What are some of the things that we can do to ensure that this doesn't happen? Aha. So we had to go through a number of that with them. And then we had to bring in some techie people as well. Like, okay, can you please help us? We don't want these children to go to other sites. What are the options that we have available? We want to reduce data usage. What are the options we have available? And then we got a number of options. At this point in time now, because the data thing is still a big issue. So what we're doing in school at this point in time is to work with a certain network. Okay, so we have this sort of like a CUG kind of line, and then they gave us this like a whole school data. So rather than each family buying data, so we have this amount of data that we can share out to the children, and a number of times as well, we allow them work independently using the data facility in the school so that it reduces what they're going to use at home as well.
Interesting. Wow, this is a lot. Interesting. Interesting. I'm so excited because you have kept on fighting the odds. You've kept on, you're sharing your experience with us. You are showing us a number of challenges that you've come across, and now you've kept on fighting the odds and facing it and ensure. I see a lot of us today are not ready to do this fight, and this fight will always come. From our
Yeah.
research, we have seen that these fights they're just going to come. Thank you so much, Mr. Amsadibenko, for sharing this wonderful insight with us. I'm sure a number of school owners are listening. Those that are not able to access the meeting now will view it synchronously and get all of this information. And this is really a lot. Thank you so much for your determination. Thank you so much for your passion, for your
Thank you.
for for your energy in making this work. All right, in making blended learning work in your school. Whatever happens anywhere, what you have done now is a standard. And I'm sure so many schools are going to be inspired and want to follow the same direction and say, okay, yeah, this is happening right here in Nigeria, and this is happening. It's not a, and they're going to get inspired. I'm really, really sure. Thank you so much, Mr. Debempe. Thank you for your time.
Thank
Thank you for this wonderful inspirational session.
thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. Okay. Hi, Bill.
Hello, hello. How
Yeah.
are you? Good morning.
Good morning from Nigeria. Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine. Thank you.
Instant. So we just had the first session with one of the schools we're working with here in Nigeria. And then,
Mhm.
of course, I'm sure you heard the conversation and you saw the direction, and how that even here in this part of the world, we're pushing. We're trying to ensure that we have the best. We're trying to ensure that we're not left behind. We're trying to ensure that we're part of the equity experience, and we are striving and working hard towards that. Um, and this is why when we met, and you told me about Soul Academy, I loved it. And then every time you get talking about decentralization of education, of learning, it gives me inspiration. So the theme of this meeting is beyond walls. We want to sound an alarm through this conference that schools need to consider a number of options that are available. Learning should not be limited. All right. So many schools today are not giving their kids a wide a wide learning opportunity, and that's because of the fact that it's just all about the walls. It doesn't go beyond the walls. It doesn't go beyond the walls, and this limits what the kids can have access to. All right, their learning experience is limited because all that is in the mind about learning is the school. Once they're out of school, practically they see that, oh, can learning really happen? Let's wait till I get to school again and learning gets on. But you're talking about decentralized education. You're talking about the decentralization. All right, and this is really interesting. So I'm going to hand over to you so you can talk about this, in a couple of minutes, and what you have put in place to ensure that kids have their experience from anywhere in the world. Thank you. Bill, hand over to you now.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me here. Yes, my name is Bo McCoy, and I'm the CEO and founder of Soul Academy. And we are a big believer in this concept of decentralized education. And what does that mean? Well, it means stepping outside the four walls of the traditional school as soon as you accomplish some of the things that the previous speaker was talking about. Now, we take it from that standpoint of if a teacher is online and if students are online, how do we make the very most of the time that they have when they're connected to the internet? I was just speaking with a teacher here who told me how many problems they have getting internet access for her students, and this is here in the United States. So I have to tell you, it doesn't matter if you're in Nigeria or if you're in the United States or in any country around the world, they're all trying to figure out how to get students connected and online. And what can we do once we're online? Well, we can bridge and have a connection and a conversation with people all over the world. See, there's incredible teachers in every corner of the earth, and they do amazing work inside of the four walls of their classroom. And what we believe in Soul Academy is connecting what's happening inside of those four walls with the four walls of every school all over Earth. And so all you have to do is take the magical instruction that you're doing in your classroom and record it, put it on video, and then upload it to a website like Soul Academy for the rest of the world to see. See, not every student, excuse me, not every student is able to watch your instruction live right at the time that you have it. For example, there's quite a time difference between Lagos, Nigeria, and Las Vegas, Nevada, where I live. So it would be really hard for a student here to watch a teacher who's live in Nigeria, but they have so much that they can learn from each other, right? Cross-culturally, all around the world. Teachers and students and teachers could learn from each other in this decentralized fashion as soon as we make our content available in an asynchronous model. And what does that mean? It means making it available so that a student can watch it whenever they have internet access. Again, you can't guarantee that they're going to be online 24 hours a day or available. But if you make the content available to them at a time that works for them, there's a much more likelihood that they're going to watch that content. And so by decentralizing education, instead of that one student having one teacher in Lagos, Nigeria, now that one student has millions of teachers all over the world. And if they want to learn a math lesson from a teacher in Florida or a teacher in Malaysia or a teacher in India, it's the same math lesson at the end of the day. So why don't we just connect you with someone who makes sense to you, who someone has a personality who you like, with someone who explains concepts in a way that just makes sense to you? Because everyone in the world, every school in the world is going through the same challenges, trying to get their students online. And we have to make their online time as efficient as possible. And this is the concept of decentralized education. It's connecting educators and students all around the world through asynchronous instruction and really just maximizing the amount of time that they have inside of those 4 classroom walls.
Interesting. This is really great. And then every time I think about the word global citizenship, every time I think about global citizenship, as part of the education 4.0 model, and the fact that every child is a global citizen, and that means I'm a kid in Nigeria, and then if I have that opportunity to listen to a teacher from Las Vegas, from India, from anywhere in the world, all right, it opens me up to that experience. And then I see the connection, and this is really great and amazing. This is an innovation, and what Soul Academy has put in place. Right when you were talking, I was thinking about YouTube, and I was thinking about how unsafe YouTube can be, as a source, for videos. I was thinking about, but I know Soul Academy is a streamlined platform in the sense that you come on Soul Academy, the only thing you see is what has to do with education, is what has to do with learning. The whole area and channels are spread out. All right, you don't come on Soul Academy and you come see something. YouTube is really, you can get on YouTube, you see different kind of things hanging around, and things like, and kids could really get exposed to what they are not so supposed to, even as it were. But this is amazing. All right, a centralized place that really has to do with learning, and I can just get up on that, and and click on it, see a video, learn something as an addition to what my teacher has taught, and then I have a greater learning opportunity. And this is what I love about Soul Academy. So every kid has a greater learning opportunity. We're saying the learning doesn't stop in the classroom. It doesn't stop. It doesn't hang in the classroom. We're trying to get that mindset of the head of kids. Beyond the walls of the classroom, great learning can happen. Outside the circumference of the school premise, great learning can happen. And I'm glad that's what you've put in place. Okay, so so as a teacher in Nigeria, so I can create a video and then put on social media, and any kid, any learner from anywhere in the world can hook up with my content and learn from what I've created. How does it happen? How does it happen?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a great description. Thank you so much for that. The problem with YouTube is, like you said, it's not a learning focused environment. And it's also full of ads and distractions. The way that they make money is by getting you to click on another video. We don't do that at Soul Academy. We just want you to be locked in so that you can focus, and parents, most importantly, can know that their child is safe to learn in this environment. They're not going to be brought to something that's inappropriate for their child. And so it's as simple as going to our website, www.soulacademy.com. It's SOLCADEMY.com. And then from there, you can create a free account. Everything is completely free, and you can create your profile. All you do to create your profile is put some basic information like your name, your email address, your address, and we just ask that you prove that you are the person that you say you are, because safety is very important to us. We'll then approve your account, and then you can upload videos that you've created in literally seconds. It's the easiest thing you've ever done. See, the Soul in Soul Academy stands for Simple Online Learning. We believe there's so much technology out there for teachers, but it's way too complicated and it actually slows you down. The purpose of technology is to make your life more efficient, right? You should be able to get more productivity out of your time. And that's why the S stands for simple, in Simple Online Learning. So it just takes a matter of a couple seconds to upload your video to the site. You tag it with the grade level, with the subject, and with the topic so that it's easy for a student to find. You could say, this is for elementary school, this is mathematics, and this is addition, right? And that way a student or a parent who's looking for elementary school addition can just quickly go in and find your video in a matter of a few seconds. You then have the ability to share your classroom resources along with that video. So if you're talking about elementary school addition, you could have a lesson plan for a teacher that tells them how to teach this topic, or you could have a guide for a parent who's working with their child on addition and needs some help, from you, the educator. What are the steps that help your child who's learning how to add in elementary school? So it's all very, very easy. It's free to use, and it only takes a matter of a few seconds to get signed up and get started. And of course, if you have any trouble along the way, we're here to help you. So all you have to do is chat into us on any social platform or through the website itself. If you go to Instagram or Facebook or Twitter or any social platform at all, we're always on there listening to you because we want you to be successful with this concept of decentralized education. So go to soulacademy.com and we're here to help you. And it's very, very simple and easy.
Interesting. Thank you so much, Bill, for that. And I'm sure over and over time we're going to talk about this with the educators in our community, and I'm sure a number of teachers from our end are going to be signing up on that platform, creating their videos, and connecting to learners and also other teachers from other part of the world. And that's interesting. That's what we love. We're really excited about that, and and that's what we're saying through this conference, beyond walls. So thank you so much, Boo, for your time. Thank you so much. For spending this. I understand that this is really not convenient, the time zone, and I know that. Thank you so much once again for sharing all of this with us. Thank you.
Yes, and thank you all. Thank you very, very much. I'm so honored to be here. It's a pleasure to be up early in this morning working with you, and I look forward to seeing amazing video content from the teachers there and all across Africa.
Great. Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you once again. Bye for now, Bo. Okay. Hi, Dr. Joy. So let me check if you can hear me. Oh, I think you're muted.
Thank you. Yes, good morning.
Yeah. Good morning from Nigeria once again. And thank you so much for connecting. Time zone is not convenient. This is really a lot to us. Thank you so much for choosing to spend this. You should be resting by now, and then you decided to connect and to be a part of this conference, and we really appreciate this. Thank you so much, Dr. Joy. And we got talking, and as the first time we met, and we got talking, and you were sharing this idea with me about a number of things, about a number of um, um, things that are happening with learning in the 21st century. You mentioned a number of things that really caught my attention. And then it's exactly that the same thing we're doing is what you're doing right there. You're also a research person, and you you'll be doing a lot of research, into education, into learning in the 21st century. And we're excited to have you in this conference. And as we're looking at Beyond Walls, looking at the fact that the school, the building, the architecture, all right, is really an insufficient component. Is really an insufficient component when it comes to really delivering learning with respect to the fourth industrial revolution that we're in, with respect to the 21st century that we're really in, and what is happening, what we're seeing. We see that the physical architecture, the infrastructure, all of those things are just insufficient, and they seem to be the minor now. They seem to be the minor. And there were so many things you said in that direction that's pointing to what learning should look like. And so, Dr. Joy, I'm going to hand over to you right now. And I really can't wait to hear from you, to hear you share all of these ideas about learning beyond walls and some strategies and techniques that you have discovered and from experience that you've seen that can help us to maximize learning at a time like this. So once again, thank you, Dr. Joy, for joining us. I hand over to you.
Thank you for having me. So I'm going to build on what Bo McCoy was sharing a little bit about the concept of learning beyond walls. But today, what I'm going to talk about a little bit is the learned experiences. I'm going to share a little bit about what's happened in the US in terms of the learnings from community schools, as well as my work in evaluation, and just really talk about how, as educators, we can either grow our capacity to work with families in a different direction, or we can improve our outreach at schools, but there are many different levels. So I'll just start with, so the title of my presentation is Family, School, and Community Engagement. And here in the United States, there are a couple of ways that education is implemented that are intended to make education and the outcomes equal, and they're that all students are required to attend school, and that public schools are funded by tax dollars, and they're expected to produce quality instruction for students. We have public and charter schools, and if all parents pay taxes for their children to attend school, but if you are privileged or you have scholarships, some parents have the alternative to send their children to private schools or homeschool. So the idea of a free education in the United States is very robust. And then the curriculum is standardized across federal and state levels, and teaching standards and qualifications are pretty regulated as well. And then the last category that I think is also important to understand is that students with disabilities are not exempt in the United States. By law, they're entitled to free and appropriate education. So this means that there are standards set for students with disabilities, depending on what those disabilities are, that everyone is expected to attend school at or around the age of 5 or 6 to at least the age of 16. But most United States students go to high school through grade 12, which, unless if you're an accelerated student, ends around 17 years old. And if you have disabilities, you go until you're 21. So the idea is that everyone is doing this standardized implementation of education, but unfortunately, the results are not the same. And what we see is extreme disparities for economically disadvantaged students. And until recently, well, even now as we speak, students in different areas of the country, economically disadvantaged students by race, perhaps where they live, different qualifiers, or marginalized people are experiencing different outcomes. So reading by grade 3 is often, those benchmarks are not met. Math by grade 8, those benchmarks are not met. And of course, graduation rates are not met. So we have middle class families and upper class families that do extremely well in school, and then economically disadvantaged students, which are often in the United States, Black and brown children, they are also not doing well. So today what I wanted to really share with you is an opportunity to either shift or grow your mindset, and that's to build relationships with families. The research about connecting with families is that parent involvement or family involvement, including factors such as parenting style, parent participation in learning, is more an accurate predictor of student achievement than family income or socioeconomic status. So when we hear so much about if you have money, it affords you a better education in our system or something different, and you peel back the layers, one thing that we're learning, or that we have learned, and this research goes back several decades, is that families are what make the difference, attitudes and primarily involvement. Now, the research that I'm going to share with you today is not my own. And if somebody wanted access to this, I would love to share it. I think it's very important for everybody to see it because it will change your mind about a lot of things, or at least influence you to think differently. In my case, and my background is I was a teacher for many years, and then I went into administration, and now I work in evaluation. So I have that background of like being somebody who had a complete transformation in the way I think about the 4 walls of learning. So when we think about learning, it's an ecological approach, or approach that says wherever a child is, that child is learning. It doesn't have to be within the 4 walls of the school. It can be in their homes. It can be at the library. It can be when they're outside playing with their friends or their family. So when we think about this, educators should leverage those opportunities to build strength within the classroom. So in order to really capture this opportunity with families, there are conditions of mutual respect and trust, and then that we have to consider the culture that we're working within. Like each school and community has a particular culture, and that's really important, as well as looking at the family's strengths. Anytime you're working with anyone, your colleagues or your friends, or your colleagues or your students, you want to approach them from what they do have as opposed to what they don't have. And there's a lot of research on strengths-based instruction or social skills building. So that would be a good body of research to draw from. And then there's this idea that we had talked about before of co-creation. Co-creation is the idea that you're really sharing this space of education with your families and thinking about how can they contribute? What can I learn from them? What can we do together? And how can this space belong more to the families that send their children here? And when I say space, it might be your online classroom. It could be, it doesn't have to necessarily be a school-wide initiative. It could be something that an individual is changing in their own space. And I think that's really important because in my work, in the US, we have community schools, which are publicly funded schools that operate on this principle. But in my individual professional work, I've seen this work on just with social workers on a family level. So this idea of trust, the way that would look for a social worker might be not asking a family a lot about their socioeconomic status, but letting them tell them, look, we don't have stable housing. And then the social worker will help the family with stability so that they can support their child and be a stable source for their child. And that's one of the, that comes from a collaborative approach in a community school, like social work, which is not always available to everyone, but that's just one. So, so in order to implement this type of thinking around families. Oh, I do want to go back. I'm sorry. So the major shift in this type of mindset is one of devaluing and doing to and for families to one of valuing and co-creating with them. So it means you're asking more questions, you're listening, you're empowering. And if you think about what that means, it means you have to really create space in your relationship with somebody to be moldable and shapeable. So if a parent says, you know, I don't understand these report cards that you're sending home, or I'm not getting enough communication, or as the first speaker mentioned, the data isn't making sense to me, that those are things that you really break down and work with the family. And I'll provide examples of that later, but I think it's important to think about whenever we share power with somebody, we have to give up some of ours in order to make that work. So when we implement something like this, we're asking and listening, we're empowering family members, we're listening to them for improvement. And I think this is a critical stage. When we say we're listening to somebody for improvement, it's not like one time where I meet with a teacher and say, oh, what are your ideas about this? This is something that is implemented over time, so that parents are used to be giving feedback and they can see, it's visible how their feedback shapes things. So we call that a feedback loop. So the first speaker mentioned the use of data and how expensive it is. Maybe there's just attendance data or grades that are being shared, and the parents are saying, you're sensing that there are issues with the type of report card that's being given. So then you form a committee of parents, or you delegate a few parents in 1 year to be responsible for a project like this. And you ask them, what could we change to make this easier for you? And maybe they talk to other parents. And so then you present to them, this is what we did with the feedback that we gave you. And this an iterative process. And so what happens is you partner, you co-design, you implement, you assess, and you approve, and then you share that. And then the next step for the family is leading and advocating. And this means that you support the parent. If the parent is trying to make changes that involve getting community action, or they need school leadership, you help them and assist them in doing that. And in the end, you're working together. I just want to share some outcomes of this type of change and encourage anybody who's listening or watching to really dig deep into the body of research on community schools or family school engagement, because it's very powerful. And most of the research that I have is really around US outcomes, and I want to be careful because those may not be the same outcomes that you have in Nigeria, but it's so inspirational. So I'm going to give some examples. One is family teacher meetings. So using data and sharing with parents how family members can strategically support learning at home. So when families feel that they can make a difference, even in the STEM fields and the science, technology, even in those fields, when parents feel equipped, it raises their confidence and they help their children more. Another opportunity is sharing opportunities that strengthen the family. So this can be learning resources, linking families with community agencies. Even simple things like places of learning, for example, a community library in the United States. If families are more connected to resources, a food pantry, maybe the school has a clothing cupboard or a food pantry. Those are things that strengthen the family, but there are also other opportunities where if you know there is a job or a career fair and you make that available to your parents. Those are all opportunities to strengthen the family. And then another one, which we've already kind of touched on, is this idea of delegation to families within the school community or in your classroom to provide input and support the development of school initiatives. And I think that is best implemented typically for longer term initiatives or committee type work. In the case of something like what we experienced last year in COVID, maybe there were aspects of that you could assign a parent to, but when you need rapid change, that would not necessarily be a good place to always insert family members to do the work. And then it's something more sustainable over time. And then the other one is what we touched upon, is really creating these strategic opportunities for feedback loops. That means you're not only taking their feedback, but you're implementing it and you're sharing it back with the families. This is what we did. Does it work? Give us more feedback. It's a continuous process. So yeah. I'm flying through the information, but I think it's super important. This type of approach is the strongest predictor of, when I say approach, family engagement. When families are more engaged, academic outcomes go up, attendance goes up, suspensions go down, relationships with teachers go up, pro-social behavior goes up. And then for families, we have things like confidence and involvement. So that process is sustainable over time. It strengthens the community. The likelihood of families as they grow in confidence, will also grow their own education. So these opportunities build the family from within. And then this concept of community vitality. When schools are safe, parents have a sense of pride and rapport, and those types of things go a long way also in like building the overall community, like trust and things like that. So it can change the culture. So my call to action today is to really think about our role as educators, having a shared responsibility in family engagement along with families, schools, communities. It's an essential ingredient along with leadership, coherent instructional systems, professional learning efforts, and student-centered learning climates, excuse me. So what it is that I think is the most important today to talk about is that you might not be able to influence your school leadership today, but you can make a change in your own classroom and how you think of families, how you show respect, how you value their input. And many teachers already do this, but if you're doing it in one way, grow it to 5 ways. And then if you see your school has an opportunity, you can influence your school leadership, you can invite families in, but make time for this because it's something that reproduces itself in exponential benefits. And again, it trumps the it trumps economic stability for families in terms of making a difference. I'm sorry, that was a mouthful.
Okay, so. It's fine. It's great. It's fine. Thank you so much, Dr. Joy. This is really amazing. This is really amazing. And research has proven that when we have this kind of system, when we have this kind of structure available in learning environments, it truly reflects. In even with the learners in terms of their performance and satisfaction and other areas. And this is really great. And that's what we're saying in this conference, that we need to look beyond the walls of the school buildings. We need to shift our eyes. So many things, there are other components. There are other components that have been neglected, like this aspect of parental engagement, this aspect of co-creation, bringing the parents into the learning and all of that. So many aspects that could, increase the quality, the richness of the kind of learning that the kids get to access, all right, even now, and even for the sake of the time that we are in. And we're really excited that you're sharing this with us, that you're bringing this light to higher education community. And you mentioned the fact that it's a mindset. It's a mindset. That there has to be that shift in the mindset. It's a mindset. It begins with that mindset thing. But having the mindset that, oops, it doesn't have to be like this. There has to be a change. There can be something better. There can be something. And while we're discussing at first, and you shared an instance with me of getting parents influenced in planning some projects, getting parents influenced in the aspect of project-based learning. And then, so when parents are influenced in that aspect, it ensures a kind of continuous learning experience. The parents have an idea of the project that their kids are working on in school. And so they are even the one, like monitoring, like checking off, like they want to know, because at the end of the day, when it gets to the evaluation of the entire project, the parents are still going to be involved. And that's really great. I love the fact that you talked about that you cited that. And I know when that happens, we're gonna have a new generation of parents, all right, who are also involved in the learning. Dr. Joy, I like you to say something about this. What can you say about the fact that every 21st century parent needs to be involved in their kids' learning? What do you want to say about that? I know a number of parents don't really care. They just want to go to school, come back, and they don't care. But that fact that every 21st century parent needs to be involved in their kids' learning. Of course, we're discussing about how the school can help the parents to be involved. But what can you say about that? Why is it important for parents to be involved in their kids' learning? What can you say about that from your own experience?
Again, it's because learning occurs everywhere. Right? It's not just within the 4 walls of the classroom that you and I agree upon. It's that that if a parent is not involved, there are barriers. Maybe there are emotional barriers. Maybe they feel like they're not qualified. Maybe they feel that the school is not welcoming, or that but at the end of the day, the parent is or the family member, because it's not always parents, right? But a family member is the expert on that particular child that they're sending and trusting you to. And so if the information is always top down, do this, this is the way it is, then you're not really trusting or valuing that parent or that child to the best. You're not doing the best for the child that you can. So I think what's important is just that pause that we take, each and every one of us in our professional careers. And it happens sometimes with our students, but it's that part where we grow ourselves to say, how can I make this work better? What can I do to really include these families, and what can I learn from them, to make this space our space, not just my space.
Yeah, interesting. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Joy, for this wonderful presentation. So all of today's session is going to be available on YouTube, and I'm sure you have a number of friends that will want to, listen to this presentation, and it's really available on YouTube. I'm going to forward the link to you, and also all of our guests too, so that they can have access to the entire presentation. And I must say that it's really been an awesome time. Thank you, Dr. Joy. Thank you once again
Yes,
for joining us. We are so glad.
Oh, may I
Yeah,
just say
go ahead,
one thing?
please.
Yes, if
Yeah.
somebody wants the resources from today, they can reach me at
Okay.
Pansari, Pansari, at ed-say.org. I just want other people to see what I'm seeing, because it will change your heart and your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you. We need a shift. We need a shift. I'm a parent. I'm a father. I have a kid. He's gonna be 2 year old son, and I've been thinking. I've been planning. I've been working on some learning design. I've been thinking of how to craft, some learning experiences outside school. He's going to go to school, but I'm not too much concerned about what's going to learn in school. I want to. I have a lot of plan already of how it's going to be beginning from awareness. There are so many things he's not going to learn in school. I'm going to teach him right here from home. All right, he's going to understand the fact that as a father that I am to him, I am really interested in getting him to get the best. I mean, the school is just limited. The school can't give the kids everything they need. They cannot. They really cannot. So thank you so much, Dr. Joy, for this inspiration, for this insight. It's so much appreciated.
Thank you very
Thank you for
much
your
for
time.
having me.
All
I
right,
wish you
so
well. Thank you.
we'll keep in touch.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so it's been an amazing experience. It's been a great time in this conference, and when we are at EAZY-DIGI Tech Solutions, we are a research and training based organization, and so we are a voice, and we're also a force, an equity voice and force in Africa. We want to ensure that Africa is not left behind. We want to ensure that we're in a place where we're able to provide the same learning experience that is available anywhere in the best places that you have the best educational systems in the world. We are that channel, and so that's why we have opened our research channels again today. There's another thing again we did. One of our partners is a company in USA, a digital learning platform, and so we've been together for a while. And recently, they launched this homework help program, and this homework help program simply provides kids the opportunity to have one-on-one tutoring experience with with a tutor from anywhere in the world, So kids have the opportunity, like let's say our kids here in Nigeria can learn from anywhere in the world, can learn on that platform. They can just have someone work with them on their homework. It's still part of the experience we're talking about beyond walls. So the learning is not limited to what's happening right in the school. So, Mr. Adebinkwa, are you there? Can you hear me? Oh, hello, Mr. Adebinkwa, are you there? Can you hear me? Oh, I'm not sure if Miss Adebimpe can hear me now. Oh, oops. Okay. O- Okay. Okay. Okay, let me start again. Can you hear me? Oh, probably this is network now. Okay, that's fine. Let's hope it gets better over time. So this is one of the things we're talking about. So look at that. Kids have an opportunity to learn again beyond the experience that they have just right there in school, and that's just amazing. That's amazing. So beyond the walls of the classroom, yeah, again is another learning opportunity. Okay, hello, Mr. Adebimpe, are you there? Oh, okay, okay, that's cool. I guess she's having some issues with the network. Okay, and so we launched that with Best Guidance School, I think sometime last week, and the experience was great. I wanted her to talk about it, and the experience was great. So with that, kids learn with their teachers in school, and then they have more learning opportunity. I mean, I'm a kid over the weekend. I could just connect on that platform with a teacher from anywhere to put me through on certain things, and we don't have to put the bulk of the whole thing on the teacher. The teacher should do the whole thing. Just teachers are doing too many things, too many load on them, and all of that. Not in this age. Not in this age. We do not have to expect they are going to do everything. No, no, that's too much. It's too much. Our kids today can have access to greater learning opportunities beyond the walls of the school, beyond the walls of the classroom. Just like Dr. Joy said, learning can happen everywhere. Learning can happen everywhere, not only in the school. There's an opportunity to learn everywhere for the kids. At home, everywhere they go to, everywhere they visit, there is an opportunity for the kids to learn. All right, we need to go beyond the walls. Another thing we're doing is Project FF. All right, there are many things we're doing in this direction. As a research-based organization on 21st century learning systems. Project FF is an initiative that connects classrooms, that connect learners to industry experts. Right? Because we want the kids right from their early stage to begin to see the applications of the things they're learning. We want to begin to shift into problem solving. All right, so whatever it is they're learning is going to be connected into real life applications, and then the kid will begin to model solutions. All right, at their level, we begin to chip in that into the learning experience. And so when we have that, we have a generation of young people who are getting prepared for the future early, early. Learning in the fourth industrial revolution is different. It's different. It really has nothing to do with this exam, test, and all of that. It's really got nothing to do with it. It's really beyond. We're in the fourth industrial revolution, and our world has changed. Our world has changed. Okay, hello, Mr. Adebimpe, are you there?
Yeah, yeah, I'm here. I got through now. I guess it's the connectivity.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, it's fine, it's fine. So we just want to wrap up this session with you. So I was talking about the homework help program, and as also part of this idea of the beyond walls experience. How that kids have an opportunity outside what happens in the school to learn on a separate platform, all right, from someone that's probably not even around them, that's way far as in another continent and all of that.
Yeah.
All right, so we had that test run with PGS last 2 weeks or thereabout, and could you just briefly talk about the experience and what you think about it?
Oh, okay. Well, the learner that joined was at first a bit nervous, nervous about just meeting someone that she never knew before. But then by the time she came in contact with Adash, he was a very cheerful person, very calm, and then he asked the subject she wanted them to discuss. Also, she asked, "Oh, is there any subject I can pick anything?" Adash said, "Yes, pick anything." So she said mathematics, and then Adash said, "Bring your assignments if you have any. Let's work on it." And that was how they started. She truly, truly enjoyed it. It was an awesome experience for her. She was first of all nervous that would she be able to understand the guy's accent, but fortunately enough, he had a very, very clear accent. He really made sense. I guess the personalities were sort of matched, so they were able to communicate very well. He was an exciting person. And the fact that she was now able to get a different version of explanation coming from another perspective was another enjoyable experience for her. So she was really happy, and
Yeah.
then she's totally set to have the experience again for any other topic that she thinks she's not doing well with. So of course the teachers in school are doing great, but of course when you hear the teaching from another perspective, the explanation from another perspective, again, it broadens your knowledge. So I think it's actually an exciting program. It is. And also relating that to Soul Academy, it's beautiful. I was excited when I was hearing that from him, because even beyond individual pupils or students connecting on that platform to learn something, even as a class-wide activity, teachers can actually interact with the platform and see another perspective, another version of
Yeah.
explanation, and you can beam it to the whole class again to see the new style, the new
Yeah.
system coming from another person. And this is just awesome, because if I have to relate this to my experience when I was in school, I remember that when I was in school, one thing that was for sure that would come out of WAEC was construction in mathematics. It was always number one question, and I never understood construction. The teachers explained over and over and over again. I never understood it. I hated it until my cousin came in from Lagos. Then I was in Ibadan. Until my cousin came in and he explained construction to me. And construction became like a game. I was ready to take the
Wow.
protractor and the compass and to draw angles and all that. And I was like, what's this, teachers? What have they been saying to me? So I totally connect with these things, that no matter how good the teacher is, sometimes when you have another perspective again, it's just awesome. It's awesome. So that Soul
Yeah.
Academy thing is just a beautiful thing. I'm definitely going on that platform.
Great, great, great. Thank you so much, ma'am. This is what I love about PGS. PGS is a future forward school. PGS is growth and innovation driven, and
Thank
that's
you.
PGS is a model for what the 21st century learning environment should look like. A learning environment that is unpredictable. I said that in at the beginning.
Yeah.
Unpredictable learning for an unpredictable future. And that's true. And I love, and that's why we were so much
Yes.
enjoying our partnership with PGS. And we look forward to greater things. We
Yeah.
look forward to greater things, even in the coming term that we're about to commence. So thank you so much, Mr. Adebimpe, for staying all the way for
Yeah.
this 1 hour. It's been an awesome time. Thank you for your
Thank
time.
you very much. Thank you. We
All right,
appreciate
it's
you
a
having us
pleasure.
here. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so once again, the conversation continues. We keep opening up our resource channels. Will be a lot of things we're coming up with. We have a lot. We're spanning our partnership across the globe, and so many things are happening. There are certain things that we don't want to talk about them now. We just want to keep launching things, gradually, and we encourage every school out there to connect with us and join us. If you are a future forward school, if you're thinking of 21st century learning at its best, you need to connect to EAZY-DIGI and see what's happening, because we are future forward. We are an equity voice and force, and we want to ensure that whatever learning experience that is obtainable anywhere in the world is happening right here in our own education community. So thank you very much. As a follow-up on this conference, if you have questions, if you have inquiries, please feel free to drop a comment on YouTube. You can also reach out to us on our various platforms, on our social media platforms. You can find us on Instagram at EasyDJ Tech Solutions. You can find us on Facebook, we're on YouTube. Um, yeah, from on our website easydigi.net. You can reach out to us, we can keep talking, we can communicate, and we can connect. So thank you so much, everyone, once again. Thank you for your time. It's really been an amazing moment, and we look forward to having you again connect with us in the forthcoming conference. Goodbye for now.